Welcome to Phase 3 of the Buff Dudes Cutting Plan. Yes, it is mandatory upon entering Phase 3 to grab yourself a pair of sweet 80 shades. It just makes it feel more intense, you know? Finished our workout. Now I'm doing a little bit of cardio. As you can see, found myself a little mountain trail here. Yes, you can do things such as a treadmill, but you know, I'm inside enough. Editing in the gym, in an office. It's good to just get out and enjoy yourself once in a while. It's also good for the mental aspect. Get a little fresh air, listen to your music, have a little time by yourself. And that is what I wanted to talk about as we enter this phase. As amazing as the power of the pump is, there is also the agony of the slump. And I'm talking about the midway point, because we're midway through the plan now. Usually when you start a new plan, you're super amped to get it going, you get everything in line, you're telling yourself, I'm gonna do this, no problem. And the first couple weeks are relatively easy, but then you may start to notice maybe you're not making progress as quickly as you were in those first couple weeks. Maybe you get a little discouraged, maybe you think, damn, what's going on? Because I'm following the plan perfectly, but I'm not seeing the results. I've hit a little bit of a plateau. We'll also remember that food plays a huge part. So just as you're adjusting the workouts in each phase, you also want to make sure that you're taking the time to adjust your food as well. Maybe you need to reduce your calories a little bit. Maybe you need to up your calories. That's another thing that people struggle with, is they think less calories equals more weight loss, when that's not necessarily a good thing, because then you could start losing muscle mass. You could start thinking to yourself, I'm not even looking as good as I was in the start. So definitely keep food into consideration as well. That's a big one to look at. But hey, you know what? Hopefully we can provide a little bit of motivation so that there is no slump. No slump, all pump. And you know what? I'm gonna wrap this cardio up and we're gonna make ourselves a meal. Let's do it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Buff Dudes in the Kitchen. Today we will be making a protein treat. It's going to be chicken and cabbage soup. You're gonna have your vegetables, you're gonna have your lean meats, you're gonna have it all. So let's get right to it. You will need 620 grams of chicken, 2 cups chicken stock, 1 whole cabbage, half a white onion, 4 celery sticks, 4 carrot, chive, oil, pepper, salt, garlic. You're gonna wanna go ahead and begin by slicing 4 carrots, taking half a white onion, slicing it to bits. You're gonna go ahead and put those along with 1 tablespoon of oil into your pot. We used avocado oil, but it's up to you. You can use the oil of your choosing. We also used a tablespoon, but if you like a little bit more fat in your soup, go ahead and feel free to add 2 tablespoons. What we're gonna go ahead and do now is turn our stovetop on, and we're going to saute the onions and the carrots. We're gonna want them until the onions are glassy and golden. So we're gonna have it on about medium-low, and as we do that, we're gonna go ahead and chop up our 4 pieces of celery. We're gonna chop up the cabbage to bits. It's a big cabbage, but we're gonna slice that whole thing. And don't forget to rip out the heart in the middle. This is the Buff Dude's way of signifying that you took down the beast and now it's time to be eaten. Well, not really, it's just because the heart is a little hard to eat. So we're going ahead and take it out, throw it in the garbage, and chop up the rest. Once the onions and carrots are sauteed, we're gonna go ahead and add 2 cups of chicken broth and 4 cups of water. Go ahead and bring this to a boil. And once that's finished, add the celery and the cabbage, cover, and we're gonna have it covered for about 15 to 20 minutes. As that's covered, go ahead and chop up your chicken. We're chopping it up into little bits. Go ahead and wash your hands before and afterwards. You always want to do that when handling raw meat. And once you're finished chopping up the chicken and it's been about 15 to 20 minutes, go ahead and add your chicken to the soup. Next, you're gonna go ahead and add garlic, salt, and pepper to taste. This is up to you, of course, but we like to add the garlic, the salt, and the pepper. How much? Well, it's up to you. Once you're finished with that, go ahead and close for another 10 minutes to let that chicken cook along with everything else. Uncover, and there you go. The chicken and cabbage meal is ready to eat. And this is a lot of food, so after you're finished eating this meal, you can go ahead, stick it in the fridge, and you have it for a few more days. Unless you have a big appetite. Then go ahead and just mow it all down in one serving. Hell yeah. Phase 3, day 1. As you can see from what I just did, we're now introducing drop sets. So that was my final set of bench press. Yes, unfortunately, we're using the Smith machine because all the flat bench press are taken, but on my final set, which was 4 reps, I went for, oh man, a little lightheaded right now. What would that be? That would be 365. Didn't quite get the 4 reps, I got 3, but from then on, I'm gonna drop set, take some weight off, do as many reps until failure, and then rinse and repeat until you can basically no longer perform any reps, which I would say I did. I'm pretty happy with that one. So, hell yeah, getting this phase started off right. Moving on to alternating dumbbell incline press. This one, you're gonna start on one side of the body, move to the next in an alternating fashion, like the name says. We're gonna be focusing on the clavicular or upper portion of the chest, and it's good to do alternating because you can focus on weak points. You know, for most people, one side of their body is a little weaker than the other. Mine personally, being left-handed, my right side of my body runs just a little bit weaker, so good rule of thumb, I like to start the exercise on the weaker side of my body, and if I have the strength left, perform a few additional reps on that weaker side before ending the set. Our favorite upper chest exercises of all time. It's really gonna push you. If you're like me, you get a little confident, you start out strong, like on the Smith machine, you do really heavy weights, you're feeling pretty good. You gotta remember you're really gonna exhaust yourself in the process, because now that I'm onto this kneeling landmine, my strength is deteriorating fast. I was barely able to do that set. It's 4 sets, 8 reps. So you gotta also remember to pace yourself, because it's easy to start off super, super strong and then progressively feel like you're getting a little weaker. So you wanna push yourself, but you don't wanna push yourself to a limit where all the other exercises are gonna suffer in the process. The shorter rest times, yeah, you definitely start feeling it. Your body doesn't have enough time or as much time to recover as it used to in the beginning phases. And that's kind of one thing you gotta remember too. This program is geared towards cutting, so the rest times are lower. The weight doesn't have to be really heavy, although you do wanna push yourself. But yeah, like Hudson was saying, just pace yourself, because you don't wanna either get injured or just have a bad lift in general. Little negatives. It's a practice a lot of people don't perform. And it's an eccentric motion there, so it's realistically just the other half of a normal movement with the concentric and eccentric, but we're skipping the concentric, kind of hopping up into place, and then focusing on the eccentric, that really slow fall, the negative. And a lot of people don't realize that that in itself will activate a lot of muscle fibers doing those negatives, so it's nice to switch up. And when you perform them, you can definitely feel it. Nice. Run away dumbbell. Scared it.
He ran away. He grew up. He's off on his own. That's actually what you don't know. That's what buff dudes look like when they're babies. We're all born as dumbbells, and some of us are lucky and grow up to be this, or unlucky, I don't know, based upon your opinion, I guess. Moving on to triceps with skull crushers, an excellent triceps isolation exercise. We're gonna be doing 4 sets, 8 reps. You're really not gonna find a buff dude's workout without the skull crushers. So, like we always say, if it's a new exercise to you, start out a little lighter, or just start out maybe a little lighter in general to fill the first set out. After all, we have been doing a lot of chest, which uses the triceps as a secondary muscle group. So get a good feel for it, and good luck. Those skull crushers. You can adjust a little bit. If you're feeling some discomfort, if you're going right to the forehead, just move the barbell back a bit. You're gonna feel a little bit more of a stretch because you're gonna bring it actually above the head, and you're kind of pushing the barbell with the easy crowbar slightly back. And that can alleviate a little tension on the elbows if you're having some problems there. And if not, like that's what I'm saying, just keep it light and then go from there. Going heavy on these 3 sets, 8 reps. Really trying to push to the limit as far as hitting that failure point close to that 8th rep. So if you hit the 8th rep and really can't push any farther. And that's gonna, over the weeks go by, if you're tracking your weights, you'll see that progression in there. So the first week, 85 pounds, 8 reps, barely getting it. Second week, 90 pounds, getting those 8 reps. So getting the strength, but also the aesthetic appeal too. The trick with these is not to turn it into a shoulder press. So if you're in this position, you don't want the elbow to drop and then all of a sudden you start pressing with the shoulder. So kind of keep that elbow high. You don't necessarily have to keep it inward. You can flare it out a bit, but really just focus on that elbow extension. So that way it isolates that tricep rather than involving that shoulder with any kind of pressing motion. Took a shitload of grit to get that last rep, I'll tell you that much. Low pulley wood chops. Think of yourself as like a lumberjack. You chop some trees down. Really get that nice twist. Definitely hit the obliques, a bit of the transverse abdominis, a little bit of the lower back. Really trying to not get too much hips involved though, so if you're turning your hips with it, it'll take away a lot of the tension in the abdominal region. And so yeah, there you go. About shot. There's no more grit left, damn it.
The grit's gone.
The grit's gone. It's gone. But it'll come back. It always does. Buff dudes are gritty. Grit.